The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome to Leadership Podcast. We're here again for the big issue. And of course, I will first of all apologize for the slight delay. Well, without taking much of a time, we'll go direct into the big issue, which has to do with NDLEA and the gains of anti-drug war. As usual, my name is George Agba, your regular host. And of course, with me here in the studio, our in-house analyst. Of course, we have Silas Ezogu here.
You're welcome.
Regular. And Ejike.
Thank you for having me.
Well, the NDLEA recently busted a major warehouse in a secluded area in Ikorodu area of Lagos, where 1.8 tons, that is about 1,855 kilograms of illicit drugs worth over $278,250, an equivalent of about 194.7 billion naira in the street value, were seized. The development has been described as the biggest singular cocaine seizure in the history of Nigeria's anti-narcotic agency, the NDLEA. Well, in a statement on Monday, Femi Babafemi, NDLEA's media director, said the drugs were seized from a warehouse in the Ikorodu area in Lagos. Babafemi, who described the development as one that appears to be the biggest singular cocaine seizure in the agency's history, added that 5 persons, including a Jamaican and the warehouse manager, were arrested. Kingpins of the cocaine cartel in custody include Soji Jibril, 69, an indigene of Ibadan, Oyo State; Emmanuel Chukwu, 65, who hails from Ekulobia, Anambra State; and Wasiu Akinade, 53, from Ibadan, Oyo State. Sunday Oguntulere, 53, from Okitipupa, Ondo State; and Kevin Smith, 42, a native of Kingston, Jamaica. Well, we're beginning to see a very outstanding performance of the NDLEA, and it started when former military administrator of Lagos State, Buba Marwa, took over the reins of the agency, the government agency. Silas, we must just go direct into it. You see, why I mentioned these names is that imagine the names of people peddling drugs. That is why I was so particular about mentioning these people and then adding their age. See the kind of people that are doing this business.
Yes.
The age limit is 69, 65, 53. Adults, elderly people.
George,
that is very, very alarming.
Don't make me laugh.
Then what will say about Yahoo boss?
It's not.
This one is
not a game for the boys. It's not about 195 billion.
So that is about
that is the budget of 3 or 4 states.
5 states
in Nigeria.
5 states.
And you it is boys of 20 that will handle this kind of operation.
Jesus.
This one is for the big boys. And let me even tell you something. Let me mention it. Cocaine is not for poor. It's not for poor. The people smoke it go and and such other things. This one is, how many people can afford cocaine? It's for the big boys. So, and the big boys that handle the boys for the big boys. Anyway, I'm not trying to praise them in any way. I'm only saying that the magnitude of this find shows that it's a high-end stuff dealing with here. And I just pray that then they just will go through. I'm sure that these people that we mentioned here may not be they may be the front. There are really some big boys, even in the Nigerian political scene, that are involved. Who are their customers? Who take this kind of drugs? The big boys. That's why there was some outcry when NDLEA said they were going to test those who are on fellowship for drug. You can see the kind of
Steve opposition that killed that.
That killed it, because one of those guys may not even survive a simple drug test. And people are going to survive Nigeria's affairs in the next dispensation. Anyway, coming to this one, I must like you said, I must commend the agency NDLEA for this operation, and the international collaborators that helped them with the information and everything to get this big catch. Since Marwa came there, Marwa has always been a man of excellence. I remember I was there when he was governor of Lagos State, and a lot of good things were said about him. And then it tells you that now you not remember so much who were in their bosses in the past 2 or 3 tenures. But we still remember Akunyele. So sometimes it needs somebody with the touch of excellence to come to the table and provide service. And that's why it is always very important to choose the right man for the job. When you put the wrong person there, the person may be competent, that's on one side, or it may compromise. And in that case, the job will be badly done. But from so far, you can see that between January and June this year, the agency seized hard drugs worth 6 billion. We are still shouting, that's a big one. Until this one happened. So I believe they should continue the investigation and get to all the people in the downline of this drug catch. Honestly,
yes,
I don't think they judge these people.
Just like you rightly say, I agree with you. And when you now say it is not just a thing that has to do with the common man, the poor man, and of course it's agree. No common man, no poor man in this Nigeria of today will see money that would have helped him buy food to feed himself to stay alive and use it to go and buy drug. So it is likely that most of all these drug cartels are being encouraged, sponsored, and supported by very people in high places. Just like you say, when the idea of the fact that they should subject some political office holders and even those vying for political offices, or subject them to drug tests, the thing was made by Steve opposition. Educate, we know, and of course we have applauded, most Nigerians have applauded the NDLEA for a job well done. President Muhammadu Buhari called from London, where he's currently attending the United Nations General Assembly, to personally thank the NDLEA chairman, say he felt gladdened when he heard the news. But one thing is to bust some of these drug syndicates, get them arrested. But another problem is whether the prosecution of these persons will go in a manner that the law will take its course. How far will the prosecution? And what has NDLEA done? We keep hearing of busting of all drug syndicates, arresting them. But we've not heard the conviction. When it comes to conviction, we hardly hear the story.
Yeah, I think we should, by doing that, you need to appreciate the job of the NDLEA. The NDLEA's job stops at investigating and arresting. When you comes to prosecution, you go to the court. NDLEA will provide the charges and take to the court. It is now the job of the judiciary to pass the judgment. And there is always this problem. I think NDLEA Act had an issue, and that is why they are pushing, General Marwa is pushing for it to be amended. There is an issue of option. There is always an option of fine. If they give you 2 years, give you 1 year, there is an option of fine of maybe 200,000, 1 million, all those things. So the person will just pay from his pocket and go. I think there needs to be an improvement on that, and that is why General Marwa is pushing for it. If he gets it, his target is that they should remove the option of fine from it. If you're getting a sentence, you get the full sentence, and there should be an amendment to the charges and the number of years you spend. I don't think in the Nigerian NDLEA Act there is anything up to 10, 20 years. What you normally have is 1 year, 6 months, 2 years. So when Mara came in, he observed that and he went to National Assembly, he spoke with them, and he sponsored a bill. And if it's successfully passed, you will have an amendment and you have issues, you have a situation where you have these people going to prison for a long time without an option. That is one. And two, this particular Boston, it has a lot of commerce when you look at it critically. We're talking about 194 billion naira.
Billion.
And there was no gunshot at that warehouse when NDLEA went there. There was no hassle, there was no struggling. Something of this magnitude in a warehouse, there should be a full military operation guarding that place. There was no, we didn't see, if you remember, I think about March or April, there was this one that went to bust in that Ebeda Ikorodu area too. Just people selling in their hemp. And the woman organized some boys and they had to kill about 5 of them before they could arrest the woman and carry the goods. Everything there was not up to highest 300, 3 million, 4 million, 1 million. It was not up to 1 billion. And we're talking about 194 billion.
194 billion.
And you're talking about, so there's a question mark. I think, and that is why in our Twitter discussion yesterday, part of the suggestion is that when you're going for this kind of arrest, you should make an effort to carry an independent body, a journalist, for example. The military carry journalists to Maiduguri when they are fighting
For operation.
For operation, so that you see it for yourself, so that you don't have that. Because we need some questions to be answered. Now, we're talking about this. You said these people are part of international syndicates. We believe that because that's how they operate. As a matter of fact, this drug is not meant for Nigeria. It's meant to, Nigeria is like where you bring it in, you now supply to Africa.
To African countries.
So these guys are just the top guys coordinating it in Nigeria. There are still the bigger ones, the cartel abroad, in Brazil and so, because they say they have a link to Brazil. And there are still the boys within Nigeria who move around with these goods. But these guys are like, and most of them were not even caught at the venue. It was only the person that manages the facility that was caught there. Most of them were caught in the hotels. Somebody that controls billions of naira. Ordinarily, you have security around you. So we have some lapses, and there is need for us to understand this thing. I wish that the NDLEA called a press conference where we have opportunity to ask questions.
Thank you very much, EJK. I think you make a very salient point there. First of all, Silas, you see, we are talking of a situation where you are dealing with very dangerous people. And you know what drug does? It turns your head and you don't reason very well. And you don't say, it's not all of them who are doing this thing that might not even be taking the drugs while they give it out to people to use and destroy themselves. Some of them are drug addicts because in most of the picture you'll see some of them from their faces, you will know that they are into drugs. And then you will not tell NDLEA officials who might not even be well armed to just go like this. And they'll see what EJK said. A situation where it was even just a smaller case. Operation where you have just 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people died before the woman was arrested, and that woman will go scot-free because at the end of the day, the highest thing they will do is that, okay, we are going to pay fine. Although that one at least they have to charge with murder. Yes, but
possession of arms and everything.
In the absence of that, there are supposed to be certain measures put in place, just like he said, Mariwa has called. This fine thing. It is very necessary that issues like this, crime like this, crime against humanity, because it's human beings that they are destroying, should not be handled in a way that people can just remove money from their pockets. As drug syndicates, here the kind of amount, they can easily pay that money, they still go scot-free, continue with their business. And what gives them the courage is that, after all, if they convict you, you just pay, you are free.
Yeah. Judge,
I think the National Assembly must do something about it.
I think I don't know how far the amendment that Mara sought has gone, but if the National Assembly does not hearken to its call, I'll just target to edit conspiracy. But I'm sure that they will be concerned so much because these drugs are destroying their children. Sure, people cannot afford this one, this cocaine. Maybe they can correct tramadol and all the other ones, Igbo and India and Mako. But this is to destroy them and their children. So I think that as quickly as possible, that law should be amended. In countries where they are serious, it's put a political way about drug, offenses. There's a death penalty for it.
Like in China.
Thailand,
in China, these people, they will just kill them instantly. No time was.
And we've had the case of Nigerians who fell foul of the law there, and they call themselves executed. So, I liken this thing to what happened in 1999 when Obasanjo came, president, when he came to president, and then there was this anti-corruption push, people were carrying on that going to fight corruption. And then the speaker then, Salisu Buhari, was caught with forgery. And by the time his trial was done, what the fine they gave him was something he just removed from his back pocket and paid. And that effectively killed the anti-corruption, anti-fraud war of that government. Other things were sometimes manipulated and all that things. So I agree with you too that there need to be stringent punishment for drug offenses. Because if it's not stringent enough, people will just walk away. Now, let me give you an instance. There was a time they did a judge sentenced the drug baron or one of their careers to jail. Then after some months, they saw the same person again. I know this person, the person I sent to jail. And they now did an audit and discovered that many of those drug dogs that have either paid the fine they gave them, or their
overall
laws are going to settle
very high.
Going to settle the prison authorities and free them because they needed them to go for not everybody can carry drugs. So they needed those guys to go for assignments. So they just paid some guys within the system and they got them freed. And because nobody was checking them, until the judge noticed it. And they did an audit. I don't know how the audit finished up, but at the time, it was a case in the media. So, there's a need to tighten up the process so that the one that they're able to catch will stay there for a long, long time.
Well, thank you very much, Silas. I think ordinarily, because of time constraints, we wouldn't have actually gone for break, but it becomes very incumbent that we go for break because we will be using that to buy time to ask our viewers to send in their comment. But we won't stay long. Don't go offline. We'll just be back in a very short moment.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We are still on the big issue in Leadership Podcast. And the big issue of the day is NDLEA and the gains of anti-drug war. Silas, you spoke well. And we will actually imagine a situation where when it comes to making very stringent measures, looking for very stiff penalties, it still goes back to our leaders, the lawmakers at the National Assembly. I think these laws have to be revisited. We always talk of constitutional amendments, and most of the amendment we talk of has to do with how the state creation and issues pertaining politics and so. But when it comes to things like this, they are overlooked. And if the National Assembly refuses to, or they are being slow, I think the president has that powers to make executive orders. This is where executive orders can actually come into play. Oh, you don't think so?
Well, I wouldn't know the legal
implication of an executive order anyway.
On the criminal matter like this. I actually believe that criminal matters are things that they have to be underpinned by law.
No.
Because the way you take it, a person goes to court. You know, there are a lot of smart lawyers that can help them get out of such issues. And the government will begin to look bad for trying to, to choose, illegal measures to fight an illegal thing. But I believe that government can get the decision to ensure ourselves, because I don't think the lawmakers would be averse to having a law that deals with this drug. Nigeria has a serious drug problem. Apart from these other two ones, you know about the report of the abuse of all kinds of intoxicating, substance abuse, to
And sorry, let me cut you short. Don't even say, even if when you say it is it's even the high and mighty and their children that take this drug. It's not true.
This type.
Yes, this type.
But
let me tell you, this type, it is not only, most times they are not just sold as cocaine, but sometimes even some of these people doing drugs, like the local drugs we have here, sometimes they get a chunk of this cocaine, then mix it with India hemp, then make it something bigger at the end of the day. So most of these drugs have been added to certain kind of substances that at the end of the day, like in Primiri and all this one, there is a mixture. When you go to some shops, you hear they call monkey tail. When you see, you know that it's another higher level of the kai drink, the common kai drink. These are how even the common man. You see, Nigeria too is a country where when you should. Have you ever stayed in a hold up before? When you know how people are mad. You see a chronic agbero driver bus, even these keke riders. Even when you are on your right, you try to call them to order, they are abusing waka and the rest. It goes a long way to show you the level. Some of those things are not ordinary. Some of them are like trailer drivers. When you see the accident you see, like recently Dangote company, I think they held a meeting on how to begin to work on some of their drivers. And so they say they will subject them to drug tests. Some of these trailer accidents, fierce one. Some of these people driving them, take some of what they're under the influence of these drugs. So it's not about the thing of the rich.
I'm saying that
I
said this one may be because of the cost. But down the line, the issue of tramadol,
of course, tramadol.
Even some of them concoct local things.
Yes.
Even physics.
You can remember how they went, they busted one joint in Abuja here where they arrested a woman, and some of these things they sell like normal food, even Indomie. They put some of these things.
Actually, what Sellers is trying to say, I think it can be understood. Cocaine, the price of cocaine is very expensive. Normal, hardworking human may not afford it. So, but I understand what you're saying. The book that we know today, the improvement, all those things are consumed by the ordinary persons.
And they are even more dangerous. I know they even have a mixture of this cocaine.
Fact, this improvement
some of them
is even more dangerous than cocaine. Now. Because when you take it and you're not prepared for it, you go mad. It's a new one. It's a new mixture that came out. And it's basically produced in Nigeria here. Nigeria exports Promiri now. So you can imagine, we don't even understand it and people are taking it and they are going mad. So many people are going mad taking it. Cocaine at least is for the rich. If you have money, you buy it, they are organized. But this Promiri, this Igbo, all this, they use it to cook Indomie. They use it to make cake. They've caught a lot of people using it to make cake and selling to people, and I know they are customers.
Well, they say the war on drugs is not just about boosting some of these, arresting drug peddlers and the rest. There is also the need for creating of awareness, because due to the lack of awareness, most of our youths who take them do it as a result of what they call escapism. In philosophy, you remember escape from reality, from the harsh conditions they face in the country, from the poverty that has. Then you ask, the rich, what do they take it for? Then they say the war on drugs has to do with the home. It starts from the home. Just right from even your kitchen as a mother. Father, you can sit your children down, talk to them, tell them the dangers of drugs. Educate. We know, just like the military will say, that in tackling terrorists, they use kinetic and non-kinetic approach. Good and fine, deal with the drug peddlers. What about the sensitization of the home and parents? What
I
effort
think NDLEA
is the NDLEA
of course,
doing
have,
in
they
this
have
regard?
a lot of programs. They have a lot of programs on the TV, on the radio, in the papers, and even there's a war against drugs going on now, which the chairman takes to virus any opportunity he has of speaking. They must present it. Then there is also a radio. They have a station, a dedicated line where you call in when you have challenges. People taking drugs, people who know people who take drugs, people who have children who take drugs. They have all these things set up 247 where you call in and people talk with you, people offer help and all these things. At the end of the day, the campaign is not enough. And it's everybody's job. NDLEA cannot do it. That's just the fact. Because NDLEA cannot go around the whole country talking about drugs. So I think their structure is when you hear, you tell somebody else. The person hears, you tell somebody else. And the campaign keep going.
Yes,
I am not trying to speak for them anyway.
We really applaud the NDLEA. Honestly, they have the NDLEA under Marwa has really changed the tide in the war against drug. What really happened to a situation where recently the NDLEA chairman himself had been pushing for the fact that political office holders, even the ones vying for public offices, should be subjected to drug tests. What happened to that? We didn't hear much of it again.
No,
Just like Silas said.
It was actually, it's not a law. It was actually a suggestion. Just like he said that if you're going for marriage, churches and mosques should encourage couple to do drug tests. These are not laws. These are just suggestions in order to check these things. So it behoves on you as a pastor or you as anybody handling anything to say, okay, this is what I want in my own parish or in my own place. So he said it, politicians say no, they are smart. They went to the law, there is no law that will say they should do it. They say no, we can't do it. And that was the end.
Even if you want to pass a law, they will not
even
accept
it. We're in trouble in this country. On a final note, Silas, how do we do? Because at the end of the day, we know that despite the effort by the anti-narcotic agency, there will still be people that will want to scuttle this effort, just like in every other thing. You know very well that even among the political class, even among those who control the government, public office holders, they are into drugs too. So how can Nigeria wriggle out of this kind of situation? Where don't be surprised that you see those people that have been arrested. Very soon you will hear nothing will be heard about it.
Yes, it's just one of the perennial problems Nigeria has, which as a growing nation will have to face up to and continue to try to subdue. No nation is actually completely free of drug issues. No nation is. That's why I found even in countries where they have a mortal punishment, death penalty for it, they still have drugs being sold in this country. That's why they catch some. If there's no drug being sold, they won't be catching them and killing them. So it's something you have to do with. The only thing we have to do is to have the political will to fight it to the point that it doesn't become a problem to the nation, like insecurity is for us. Because why it's also important because it's also a part of national security. Those who carry out these terrorism acts, they can't do it with clear eye. They're always under the influence and robbery and co. And so those who always go for these things when they're under the influence of such substances, that makes them high and become, rid of their senses and allow them to behave like animals. So you can't expect a normal one beast to go to the community and slaughter children, even those in the womb, and to not killing people that have not done anything to it, because those people are under influence. So what I consider that the fight to start from the home. If your child begin to misbehave in any way, begin to show the kind of character it does not show, you begin to suspect whether it's started abusing things. I was lucky to be in a program where they talked about home, drug and home, where the person gave instances that if parents are still in charge of their families and are watchful, they will notice when their children begin to abuse drugs, and it shows in their appearance, the way they dress, the way they talk, they are wanting to be, secluded from the rest, withdrawn from society, and doing actions that are not normal with them. When you begin to see that, we begin to watch them and find out where they go, who they meet with, and possibly report, for help, get help from somewhere to cancel them and win them off drugs. That's where you have families. But in some part of Nigeria where people are bred on the streets, where there's no parental control, for instance, of children who are growing age children, that will be difficult. And that's why you have that problem more in those areas. But it's a fight that will continue. And with Mara, I'm sure that they're also looking for more strategies to bring the message of a drug war to the more Nigerians. Because for now, the awareness is not so as much as it should be. I want to see flyers, campaigns, jingles that everybody is aware of. If not, once I hear them break into somewhere.
This is even where some dormant agencies should even come in. Agencies like the National Orientation Agency. They partner with NDLEA to create this kind of awareness. Well, Silas, let's just end it here because time is no more on our side. Well, we've just heard it all. And just like our in-house analysts have said, stiff penalties, not the type that is as weak as the ones we see where you could easily go pay fines, and then if you're sentenced to years in prison, the fine covers and takes care of that, and then the same criminals comes out to keep syndicating drugs. And of course, we will always hope that our NDLEA officials will keep up the good work they are doing, step up the fight, and of course, for we individuals, and especially parents at home, I think it behoves us to actually create that awareness in our children, educate them, teach them, and let them know the dangers of hard drugs to health, both mental and physical health. And so, thank you for keeping tab with us out there, and of course, I'll thank our in-house analysts for addressing the big issue the way it should be addressed. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.